If you've been seeing alarming posts on social media claiming that marriage-based green card applicants will now be forced into mandatory face verification interviews, or that Trump's USCIS is implementing facial recognition technology to deny or delay spousal immigration cases, I want you to take a deep breath right now. I know how frightening it feels when you see headlines suggesting that the rules have suddenly changed, especially when your future, your family, and your legal status in the United States depend on getting accurate information. You might be wondering if your pending application is now at risk, if you'll face unexpected hurdles, or if policies you've been relying on have been rewritten overnight. I'm here today to walk you through exactly what is actually happening with marriage-based green card procedures, what has genuinely changed at USCIS, what remains the same, and most importantly, how to separate verified facts from social media speculation so you can move forward with confidence and clarity instead of fear and confusion. Let me start by addressing what we actually know based on official information from United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. USCIS has always required in-person interviews for most marriage-based green card applications as part of the Form I-485 Adjustment of Status process or consular processing abroad. These interviews are not new, and they have been a standard part of marriage green card procedures for many years under multiple administrations. The purpose of these interviews is to verify the authenticity of the marriage, ensure that both spouses understand the rights and responsibilities involved, and confirm that all documentation submitted is truthful and complete. Officers ask questions about how the couple met, their daily routines, their living arrangements, and other details that genuine married couples would naturally know about each other. Now, what has created confusion recently is the discussion around biometric technology, identity verification systems, and administrative modernization efforts that USCIS has been implementing gradually over the past several years. These are not sudden Trump-era inventions, nor are they specifically designed to target marriage-based applicants. Biometric collection, including fingerprinting and photograph capture, has been part of immigration processing for a very long time. When you attend your biometrics appointment at an application support center, USCIS collects your fingerprints and takes your photograph. This information is used for background checks, identity verification, and to ensure that the person attending the interview is the same person who filed the application. This process existed before the current administration, continued during previous administrations, and remains a standard security measure today. What some people are calling face verification, or facial recognition, is actually part of routine identity confirmation procedures that immigration officers use during interviews. When you arrive for your marriage-based green card interview, the officer will compare your appearance to the photograph in your application and the photo taken during your biometrics appointment. This is not a new requirement, nor is it an additional layer of scrutiny specifically introduced in 2026. It is simply how USCIS confirms that the applicant sitting in front of them is the same person whose background has been checked and whose application is being reviewed. This is a basic security protocol used in many government processes worldwide, and it does not mean that marriage green card cases are being subjected to unfair treatment or arbitrary denials. I want to be very clear about something that causes enormous anxiety in the immigration community. U.S. immigration law does not change overnight based on viral social media posts or sensational headlines. Any significant change to immigration procedures, eligibility requirements, or application processes must go through formal rulemaking procedures. This typically involves publishing proposed rules in the Federal Register, allowing for public comment periods, reviewing feedback, and then publishing final rules that specify exactly when and how changes will take effect. Executive actions and policy memorandums can adjust enforcement priorities and administrative procedures, but they cannot rewrite statutory law passed by Congress. If USCIS were to implement a genuinely new and substantive verification requirement for marriage-based green cards, it would be announced officially on the USCIS website, published in the Federal Register, and implemented with clear guidance for applicants and attorneys. So why are people talking about this as if it's a breaking emergency? Much of the confusion stems from misunderstandings about existing procedures, incomplete information shared on social media, and the natural anxiety that comes from living in a time of frequent immigration policy discussions. When someone posts that USCIS is now using face verification, they may simply be describing the standard identity confirmation that has always occurred at interviews. When that post is shared thousands of times, it can take on a life of its own and start to sound like a dramatic new restriction. This is why it's absolutely critical to verify any immigration news you see online by checking official government sources directly. Let me also address a common misconception about what marriage-based green card interviews actually involve. Many applicants worry that the interview will be designed to trick them or catch them in minor inconsistencies. In reality, USCIS officers conducting these interviews are primarily looking to confirm that your marriage is genuine and that you meet the legal requirements for adjustment of status or immigrant visa issuance. They want to see evidence of a real, committed relationship, not a marriage entered into solely for immigration benefits. This means they'll review documents like joint bank account statements, lease agreements showing you live together, photographs together over time, correspondence addressed to both of you at the same address, affidavits from people who know you as a couple, and other evidence demonstrating that you share your lives as spouses. Officers are trained to ask straightforward questions about your relationship. They might ask how you met, when you got engaged, how you proposed, what you did on your wedding day, who attended your wedding, where you went on your honeymoon if you had one, what your daily routine looks like, who does which household chores, what side of the bed each of you sleeps on, what you had for breakfast that morning, or what plans you have for upcoming holidays. These questions are not meant to be traps. They are meant to give both spouses an opportunity to demonstrate natural knowledge of each other's lives. If your marriage is real, you will know these details, even if you feel nervous during the interview. One of the most important things you can do to prepare for your marriage-based green card interview is to be honest, consistent, and well-prepared with your documentation. Make sure that all the information you provided in your applications is truthful and accurate. Bring original documents and copies of everything you submitted with your application, plus any additional evidence of your ongoing marriage that has developed since you filed. Dress professionally, arrive early, be respectful to the officer, answer questions clearly and directly, and don't volunteer unnecessary information that wasn't asked. If you don't understand a question, it's perfectly fine to ask the officer to repeat it or clarify. If you don't know an answer, it's better to admit you don't remember than to guess and provide incorrect information. It's also essential to understand that delays in marriage-based green card processing are often not related to new policies or verification procedures, but rather to long-standing backlogs, staffing shortages at USCIS field offices, security clearances that take time to complete, or simple administrative processing. USCIS processing times have been a challenge for many years, and they fluctuate based on application volume, available resources, and priorities set by leadership. If your case is taking longer than you expected, that does not automatically mean something is wrong or that you're being subjected to heightened scrutiny. You can check your case status online through the USCIS website using your receipt number, and you can also contact USCIS directly if your case is outside normal processing times to inquire about its status. Now let me address when you absolutely should consult with a licensed U.S. immigration attorney. If you have any complexity in your immigration history, such as previous visa overstays, denials, criminal history, prior immigration violations, previous marriages, children from previous relationships, or if you entered the United States without inspection, you should work with an attorney before filing your marriage-based green card application. An experienced attorney can assess your specific situation, advise you on the best strategy, help you gather appropriate evidence, prepare you for your interview, and represent you if any issues arise. Even if your case seems straightforward, having an attorney review your application before you submit it can help you avoid costly mistakes that could lead to delays or denials. You should also seek legal advice immediately if USCIS issues a request for evidence, notice of intent to deny, or if your application is denied. These documents have strict response deadlines, and how you respond can determine whether your case is approved or permanently denied. An attorney can help you understand exactly what USCIS is asking for, gather the appropriate documentation, and craft a response that addresses the concerns raised. Never ignore USCIS notices, and never assume that you can handle complex legal issues on your own just because you found information online. I also want to emphasize the long-term value and security of obtaining lawful permanent residence status through marriage. A green card provides you with the right to live and work permanently in the United States, travel in and out of the country, and eventually apply for U.S. citizenship if you choose. While the application process can feel stressful and lengthy, the benefits of permanent residency are substantial and long-lasting. Once you receive your green card, you are no longer dependent on temporary visa renewals. You have far greater flexibility in your employment and education choices, and you have a clear pathway to full integration into American society. It's also worth understanding that USCIS officers want to approve cases when applicants are eligible. They are not looking for reasons to deny genuine marriages. They have a job to do, which includes protecting the integrity of the immigration system by identifying fraudulent relationships. But they also process thousands of legitimate marriage-based green card applications every year. If your marriage is real, if you have prepared your application carefully, if you have gathered strong evidence of your relationship, and if you are truthful during your interview, you have every reason to feel confident about your case. Let me also address the impact of changing administrations and political rhetoric on immigration procedures. It's natural to feel anxious when you hear strong statements about immigration enforcement or when you see discussions about policy changes. However, the day-to-day processing of marriage-based green cards is governed by immigration law, regulations, and established procedures that do not change dramatically with each new administration. While priorities, enforcement approaches, and resource allocation may shift, the fundamental legal framework for family-based immigration remains consistent. Marriage to a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident continues to be one of the most well-established and protected pathways to permanent residency in the United States. Throughout this entire process, I cannot stress enough how important it is to rely exclusively on official sources for immigration information. The USCIS website is your primary resource for application forms, filing instructions, processing times, policy updates, and official announcements. The U.S. Department of State website provides information for those processing immigrant visas through U.S. embassies and consulates abroad. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security website publishes information about broader immigration enforcement policies and priorities. These official sources are updated regularly, and they provide accurate, authoritative information that you can trust. Social media, YouTube channels, and online forums can be helpful for general experiences and emotional support. But they should never be your sole source of legal information or guidance. People sharing their experiences online may not understand the nuances of immigration law, may be sharing outdated information, or may be describing situations that don't apply to your specific case. What worked for one person may not work for another, and what one person experienced at their interview may be completely different from what you experience at yours. Always verify any information you see online against official government sources before making decisions about your case. If you are currently in the process of preparing your marriage-based green card application, focus on gathering strong evidence of your genuine relationship. This includes documents that show you have commingled your finances, established a household together, and integrated your lives in meaningful ways. Joint bank accounts, joint credit cards, joint lease or mortgage agreements, utility bills in both names, car insurance listing both spouses, health insurance listing your spouse as a beneficiary, joint tax returns if you've been married long enough to file together, photographs together throughout your relationship and at your wedding, correspondence from friends and family acknowledging your relationship, and affidavits from people who know you as a couple are all valuable forms of evidence. Remember that the strength of your evidence matters more than the quantity. USCIS officers are experienced in reviewing marriage-based applications, and they can recognize authentic relationships. Focus on quality documentation that genuinely demonstrates your life together rather than submitting hundreds of pages of repetitive or weak evidence. Organize your evidence clearly, provide translations for any documents in foreign languages, and include a cover letter or table of contents that helps the officer understand what you're submitting and why it's relevant. As we wrap up this discussion, I want to leave you with a sense of perspective and reassurance. Marriage-based green card applications are processed successfully every single day across the United States and at consular posts worldwide. Countless couples just like you are navigating this process, attending their interviews, and receiving their green cards. Yes, the process requires patience, careful preparation, and attention to detail. Yes, it can feel overwhelming, especially when you're dealing with confusing information online. But if your marriage is genuine, if you follow the proper procedures, if you submit complete and accurate applications, and if you prepare thoroughly for your interview, you have an excellent chance of success. Do not let fear-based headlines or social media rumors derail your immigration journey. Stay informed through official channels. Work with qualified professionals when needed. Trust in the process, and trust in the authenticity of your relationship. The United States continues to welcome and recognize legitimate family-based immigration, and your marriage-based green card application is part of that long-standing tradition. If you found this video helpful in cutting through the confusion and giving you clear, factual information about marriage-based green card procedures, please subscribe to USA Immigration Today right now. We are committed to providing you with accurate, responsible, up-to-date immigration information that you can trust, especially during times when misinformation spreads quickly online. Turn on your notifications so you never miss important updates that could affect your immigration journey. Give this video a like to help other people who may be feeling the same anxiety and confusion you felt before watching. Share this with your friends, family members, or anyone you know who is going through the marriage-based green card process, or who might benefit from understanding what's really happening versus what's being exaggerated online. And please leave a comment below with your questions, your experiences, or topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. We read every comment, and your input helps us create content that truly serves this community. Remember, knowledge is power, especially in immigration, and having accurate information is your best tool for moving forward with confidence. Stay informed, stay hopeful, and we'll see you in the next video.